Hi, I'm Sonia White Jaguar. Welcome to this edition of White Jaguar Wednesdays, my semi-monthly series where I discuss spiritual subjects inspired by your questions. After someone read Alan Rickman on Love, a channeled commentary, one of my free books on Wattpad, she asked me how to quiet the mind while meditating because Alan mentioned meditation in the book. I've met many people in the spiritual community over the years who've said that they want to meditate more, but they say they can't meditate because they can't quiet their mind. So I'd like to talk about that today. First of all, let's review what Alan and I were talking about in that book, Alan Rickman on Love. If you haven't read it, it's written as a dialogue in the style of a series of Q&A sessions. A link to all of my free books will be in the description box below, so you can read the full book at your leisure. It's not long. Okay, at one point in the discussion, I asked Alan, so what can people do to open their heart to the love of the universe? And we talked about intuition. Alan said intuition is part of it. People don't always trust their intuition, and sometimes intuition is wrong. That's because that love at the center is not activated first. This is how you can learn to trust your intuition. Activate that love at the heart of your being first. Then your intuition will flow, and you will be guided by the universe, quite literally. You won't be steered wrong. Then I said, so tell me more about this love in the heart. How do people activate it? And how will they know when they have? Because this can look like a purely intellectual exercise to the average person. Alan replied, I completely understand. That's why I didn't do it while I was in the physical world. It was all too intellectual for me. I was an intellectual man, and I processed my thoughts and emotions on that level for the most part. Most people do, by the way. Embracing the love I'm talking about requires complete and utter surrender. That is very difficult to do. I said, yes, that's the feminine principle, or yin energy. Instead of pushing or thinking in our head, which is the masculine principle, or yang energy, we have to yield and allow and feel in our body. So here's where Alan talked about meditation. He said, I recommend sitting in meditation and finding a profound state of bliss. No talking, no rationalizing, no listening to music even. That is a distraction. In life, I loved listening to music, but I realize now how distracting that is, at least for the purpose of engaging the heart. You want to listen to the heart, not music per se. No intermediary force, if you understand my meaning. Then I said, I can hear the average person saying, but I can't meditate. When I sit still, I just hear my racing thoughts. What do you recommend for this person? Because I hear it a lot from those in the spiritual community, and I empathize. Alan said, good question. The key is to look at those racing thoughts as they come up and tell them they don't matter, not in the higher reality where I am, for example. When you sit in silence in this manner, you enter the higher dimension. Your inner world is the higher dimension. You carry the higher dimension with you wherever you go. It is your light and your compass. Your thoughts are a distraction. Listen to your thoughts and ask yourself, who is doing the thinking? Who is thinking those thoughts? Meditate on that for a while. Then the breakthrough will occur. You may never silence those thoughts. It's near impossible to do so. You cannot stop your mind from thinking, but you can go behind the thinking mind, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do. That's where the heart lies. That's where universal love is. It will meet you halfway, so to speak, but you have to go within to touch it. Okay, so what Alan was talking about here was using meditation as a jumping off point for developing a relationship with the higher dimension through the heart center. I think we have difficulty silencing our thoughts because we're not in our heart center. So I asked Alan to elaborate on what he'd said earlier. So now I'd like to share with you his additional advice on meditation. I found his suggestions practical and helpful. So here's what I channeled from him. He said, sit or lie down, whichever is most comfortable. If you're prone to falling asleep when meditating, then try sitting instead. I suggest you focus on your heart chakra and breathe normally. You can imagine that you're breathing through your heart center. Giving yourself something to focus on will help to quiet your thoughts, but realize that it's nearly impossible to eliminate all thoughts. It does get easier with practice, but even experienced meditators have difficulty sometimes. So don't worry if you feel that you're not making progress. Give it time. Meditating has to do with receptivity. Being open and receptive is the feminine principle of creation. Society isn't kind to the feminine principle. We want to be thinking and doing, being productive all the time. That's the masculine principle of creation. Going within and listening for answers isn't promoted. In fact, the opposite is promoted, going out and asking Google for answers or asking social media. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to people who have more expertise or who've had different experiences to get their opinion on various matters, because this is how we make connections with others and learn. But ultimately, we must grow on our own, and our wisest teacher is within. So that's why we meditate. We can heal ourselves and understand the universe right here in our own heart. The heart is the portal to the higher dimension. I've said before that we carry the higher dimension with us wherever we go. We are not separate from it, and we're not separate from what we seek. So the simplest way to practice meditation is to realize that you are not separate from what is in your highest and best good. You are not separate from joy, delight, wonder, appreciation, love, and abundance, to name just a few. Let cultivating these qualities in the heart be your goal when you meditate. Okay, so that's what Alan had to say. So now I'd like to show you something. Okay, maybe you have seen this image before. This is called a Sri Yantra. It's a famous Hindu mandala. It's a visual aid for meditation. It represents the divine forces of creation, the union of the masculine and feminine. I won't go into all the symbolism here because it's very complex, but basically the square represents the physical dimension with 4 doors to the universe, and the triangles and lotuses on the interior in the heart of the physical, those represent the higher dimension. And the point at the center represents pure consciousness. So now I'd like you to see something else. Okay, this is a stone statue of the giant pyramid at Chichen Itza, a famous Mayan sacred site in Mexico. I've been there a couple times. I bought this statue there. Now, notice what it looks like when I hold it like this and you see it from above. Okay, it's similar to the idea of the Sri Yantra. Inside the heart of this temple, there's a chamber that has a statue of a red jaguar. In the Mayan tradition, the jaguar represents hidden knowledge, esoteric knowledge, and what we would call Christ consciousness, which resides in the heart. I think the ancient peoples around the world had the same basic understanding of the higher dimension and the heart and depicted it in similar ways. The Mayan shaman I've been studying with, he always says that we are the temple. These structures are just physical representations to remind us of who we are. So we can use them to help us quiet the mind and connect to the truth within us in our heart. That's what Alan was trying to say in his messages. Okay? So I have a lot more to share about this topic. So I created a short guide, How to Quiet the Mind While Meditating, which you can download for free on my website, SONYA'S.com. The link will be below in the description box. If you're already signed up for my newsletters, this guide is in today's newsletter. It's in PDF format. It contains the Sri Yantra that I just showed you, which you can use as a visual aid in your meditations. And then there's a second one that is not in color. And so what you can do is color this in if you would like and let that be a meditation exercise. There are many specific meditation exercises you can try depending on whether you're more clairvoyant or clairaudient. And there are also more channeled comments from Alan with his meditation suggestions. Okay, and then there is a meditation journal at the end that you can use to record your experiences. I included 2 pages to get you started, and you can print out multiple copies. So in the next video, I'll take you through a series of meditation exercises so you can see which ones you like the best and which ones actually help you to connect with your heart and quiet your mind. So download the free guide now so that you can refer to it during the next video and write notes on it if you would like. Okay? So be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you'll be notified when that next video is posted. If you have a question that you would like answered in a future video, feel free to leave a comment below or email me at sonya@sonyawhitejaguar.com. And if you have any difficulty downloading the guide, just email me. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and next time we'll practice some meditation techniques to quiet the mind.